And good morning, everyone. I'm Dan Rogers. I'm the Executive Director for the Kelowna Chamber of Commerce. I currently have my camera off, but you might be able to see Phil. I'm going to introduce Phil in just a moment. We want to thank you joining us for this special information session. Everyone's getting tired of Zoom and webinars, so I try to refrain from using the words Zoom and webinar. So it's an information session, a very interactive session today. We've got some great resources lined up for this talent forward session to give you all you need to know about accessing some great talent in our own backyard. So we'll get to that in a moment. Before we get too far along, I do want to acknowledge that we are gathered, for most of us, though recognizing we're gathering virtually on the traditional unceded territory of the Sioux Okanagan people. We thank them for their rich history and culture that they share with us. This is being hosted by the Kelowna Chamber of Commerce, but it wouldn't occur without our partnerships, most specifically in regards to the Talent Forward workshop with our partners at the BC Chamber of Commerce and our two post-secondary educational partners, UBCO Okanagan and Okanagan College. We also couldn't do the work we do as a nonprofit organization looking to improve the economy and to help business accelerate their success in the Okanagan without our members. We particularly want to acknowledge and thank our President Circle members. These are the organizations in the Okanagan, the Central Okanagan, that value the work that we do in collaboration with others. So specifically thanking UBC, MMP, Accounting, Consulting and Tax, along with Rogers for Business and Interior Savings for their continued contribution and commitment to enhancing our economic prosperity in the region. Do also want to acknowledge our affinity programs. We provide extended healthcare benefits to help small businesses, and we want to thank Chambers Group Insurance for, and in particular, TD Benefits for helping us do the work we do in assisting business on a regular basis. We are still in a pandemic, that's why we're meeting virtually, but also want to let you know there are resources available. 8 chambers in the Okanagan Valley have come together and formed a coalition to provide information to the business community and to our members. Under the Okanagan We've Got This.com, you'll find resources, links to government sites, as well as we do celebrate the resilience of small businesses and organizations in the Central Okanagan and the broader Okanagan area in dealing with the pandemic. We are gathered today, though, to talk about connecting with student talent, and there is a lot out there at this moment. I'm going to just go to the screen, bring myself up. Thanks for joining us, and I'm joined now with by Phil Ashman. Phil, it's great to see you again. Thanks very much. He is the Regional Dean for Okanagan College, and you, Phil, have promised to facilitate today's session. So I just get to relax and watch you do your work. So thanks very much for joining us and facilitating this very helpful session today.
Thank you, Dan. It's my pleasure to be here, and welcome everybody. Thank you for joining us this morning. So obviously we're here to get some fantastic presentations from our two post-secondary education institutions in the Valley, which we're very lucky to have, and really to highlight some of the benefits of work integrated learning and as how they benefit you as a business, and the opportunities available to you and how to engage in that opportunity. So just a couple of housekeeping issues. First of all, definitely encourage you to ask questions throughout this event. Just instead of using the chat, if you wouldn't mind using the Q&A, and then we can respond to that at the end of the webinar. This webinar is being recorded, so it will be available to you on the Kelowna Chamber website. So if you have to duck out early and wish to come back, you're more than welcome to do so. And of course, within the recording, the participants won't be visible, which some of you may be worried about as well. Both the university and the college will also be providing handouts that outline the different types of work integrated learning opportunities available, along with their contact info should you wish to reach out. So just before we get started, I mean, obviously, this has been brought to you by the Chamber and Talent Forward, And I'd just like to bring Kristen on to just give a bit of a welcome. Kristen is the program manager for the Talent Forward, which is a program run through the BC Chamber of Commerce and ACE Will. And she has a varied background in HR, post-secondary education, career development, and entrepreneurship. So Kristen, if you'd like to give us a bit of an introduction.
Great. So hello, everyone. I'm really delighted to be here with you today and excited to share about the ways that your business can help connect with students. So I'm part of the Talent Forward program, and our goal in our program is to help BC businesses and organizations like yourself to find student talent and to bring that student talent on board. And our project is run through the BC Chamber of Commerce and ACE Will. And if you haven't heard of ACE Will, it's a professional association that focuses on supporting public post-secondary institutions that have a work integrated learning programs available through them. And we do a number of different things through Talent Forward. So we provide some one-to-one advising. We run events like this one that you're attending today, and we also have some resources available, which we'll talk to you a little bit later as well. So my role right now is to just give you a little bit of a primer, so to help you understand a little bit about kind of the landscape of working with student talent across BC. And we're just hoping that this will help you when you're looking to reach out to an institution. And so first of all, there's 25 public post-secondaries across BC that offer work integrated learning, and we affectionately call that WIL. And you'll also sometimes hear it being referred to as experiential learning or maybe community-based learning. So there's some differences in that, but overall, these programs are somewhat similar. And what we're looking at is that for these student talent programs, there's an integration for students between their academic studies and then coming into a workplace or a practice setting. Another hallmark of a WIL program is that it's a partnership between the organization, the post-secondary schools, and the students. And a lot of types of WIL is actually paid work, but there's a few exceptions. So sometimes service learning or placements, sometimes those are unpaid. And overall, the purpose of these types of programs is really to help students improve their employability, their personal agency, and their lifelong learning. And of course, as well, we're hoping that these programs will provide value to employers who bring students on board in the workplace. So we wanted to just help you understand quickly that there's actually quite a number of different types of student talent programs or types of WIL programs. And we're really lucky in BC that we have so much variety. So that means that businesses like yourself, there's so many different ways you can bring students on board. It could be short term, or it could be multiple months that you can bring a student into your organization. So I'm going to run through these really quickly to help you kind of get the foundation of what types of WIL programs there are. And then our colleges and universities will talk to their specific programs that they have. So the first is that there's research projects, which is really exciting. So students are able to do research often in alignment with faculty and within an organization. It could be a consulting project or design project or just some type of community-based research. Many of you are probably also familiar with apprenticeship. So this also falls under the work integrated learning umbrella, which provides students with paid related practical experience under the direction of a certified journey person in a work environment. Cooperative education is another very popular type of student talent program. So we often refer to it as co-op. And so co-op will consist of alternating academic terms and paid work terms. And the terms usually run over an entire semester for the student. And this helps students get experience in the workplace related to their academic studies. There's also some entrepreneurship programs, which you'll hear about a little bit later. These are great opportunities for students to maybe work on a business startup. And sometimes there's also opportunity for them to solve real world problems as part of their academic credit. Another type of WIL program is a field placement. So this is a bit different from co-op. So co-op is usually full-time work and it runs over an entire semester, but a field placement can sometimes be actually part-time, or it could be more short-term intensive. hands-on practical experience. And sometimes field placements actually don't require supervision. We also have practicums and placements. So the difference between a practicum and a placement is that this work experience is actually under the supervision of an experienced, registered or licensed professional in any discipline that requires practice-based work experience for professional license or certification. So great examples of that would be social work or nursing are examples of types of practicums or placements. And then we have service-based learning. So in service-based learning, students are able to work in partnership with a community-based organization to apply their knowledge to a challenge identified in the community. So sometimes this can be volunteer work where they can work with a nonprofit to contribute in that way. And lastly, we have work experience. So work experience programs kind of catch all of the other types of WIL that don't fall into these different definitions of work integrated learning. So this allows students to do 1 or 2 work terms, usually full-time in an academic program, and to get some experience in a workplace setting. So hopefully that gives you just a bit of a sense. There's just a lot of options open to you as an employer to bring a student on board. And I'm going to pass it back to Phil so that we can hear a little bit more about the specific types of programs at Okanagan College in the University of British Columbia Okanagan.
Thank you, Kristen. And obviously, moving on to some presentations from post-secondary institutions. This is an exciting opportunity for businesses to take advantage of the creative and innovative ways that student and different perspectives and experiences students can bring to you as employers. And we're very lucky in the Valley, obviously, to have 2 very well-renowned post-secondary institutions. Between the 2 of them, obviously having over 20,000 students, which can be it's an untapped potential for potential employers. So with that, we'll just move on to a presentation by Alison and Catherine from Okanagan College. And Alison, originally from the UK, Alison has called the Okanagan home for just over 12 years, with over 18 years in post-secondary education support roles. Her joy is in supporting students and helping them realize their educational and career goals. And Catherine is a coordinator also at Okanagan College, student graduate in the Co-op Employment Center, and she's also an Okanagan College alumni and former co-op student herself. So Alison and Catherine, if you'd like to move forward to your presentation.
Yeah, absolutely. So we just thought we'd say hi before we share the screen. But yeah, thank you for the introduction, Phil. I'm just going to turn off my video and share my screen. Okay. So today I have the pleasure of telling you a little bit more about WIL at Okanagan College and how students can really connect with your organization, and you can be able to access student talent, which we're so lucky to be able to do within the Okanagan College region. Just a little bit of background. So Phil did say that we have over 20,000 students just here in Kelowna, and Okanagan College has provides education and training for about 20,500 folks each year. Also, Okanagan College is not just in Kelowna, but we have 4 campuses spread between Osoyoos and Revelstoke, so Kelowna, Penticton, Salmon and Vernon. And we have a whole host of offerings from bachelor's degrees, trades, diplomas, professional development training, corporate training, and upgrading. I did consider going through everything that we offer, and then I figured that would take up more than the 15 minutes that we have. So I've just put together just a brief summary of the different program areas that we do have at the college, and some that you might not be familiar with. So we have our arts, university studies, food, wine, and tourism, commercial aviation, trades, health and social development, business, technologies. So lots of different areas that happen here at the college, and all of them do have some elements of WIL associated with them, and it's definitely something that is a huge growth area at the college too. We're just going to be touching on a few of those today, but I did want to tell you about the different WIL that is on offer at Okanagan College. So we do have a thriving area for applied research projects. That's something that's happening on an ongoing basis throughout the different program areas that we have at the college. So that's right across from trades, science and technology, business as well, apprenticeships. We're going to touch on that a little bit later on. And I'm going to also run through some examples of cooperative education and the different programs that we have. Entrepreneurship is something, again, that is of huge interest to our students, especially in the business area. And we also have lots of our healthcare programs and social programs, such as the education assistant program, early childhood education, human service work, therapist assistant, healthcare assistant, licensed practical nurse, and also the first 2 years of the BSN program. Those all have mandatory professional practicums and clinical placements, as well as kinesiology too. We also have a vast and growing community service learning area too. And also lots of our vocational programs have work experience opportunities, usually towards the end of the program. So examples of that would be the office administration program that we have that runs in all of the different areas. And also all of our foundation trades programs. So that could be in collision repair or electrical, carpentry. All of those areas have work experience opportunities where students are available to come out and work with employers as well. So today we're going to be focusing on co-op and also some service learning opportunities that we wanted to share with you today. And we just wanted to share a little bit more about the different co-op programs that we have. Often we hear kind of, yep, Okanagan College has co-op, but folks don't always realize all of the different opportunities that we do have. So we have a Bachelor of Business Administration, which is our largest area, and we have over 300 co-op students within that program area that are looking for opportunities. And then all the way through to our technologies programs, including animation, civil engineering technology, our newly named infrastructure and computer technology diploma. You may have been familiar with the network telecommunications diploma, which was previously, and water engineering technology as well. So I just wanted to mention those, just that you had an idea of the breadth of the different areas that we have that have co-op as part of those of their program. I'm going to hand it over to my colleague Catherine, and she's just going to tell us a little bit more about an example of a co-op employer.
Thanks, Allison. So I'm going to talk a little bit about Arthon Constructors Corporation. They're a local business that specializes in mining, roadworks, site prep, bridges, and overpasses, as well as land development, among other things. With some recognizable local projects, such as the Highway 97 realignment, the Trans-Canada Highway twinning, and the UBCO overpass, just to name a few. Arthon was a first-time co-op employer looking for options to bring talent on board due to increased demand for services and rapid growth. They recognized that there were funding opportunities available to aid in developing a student talent pipeline. What they found with their co-op student was a candidate who was skilled, agile, adaptive, and particularly flexible due to challenges and changes as the pandemic was unfolding. So after 2 successful consecutive accounting co-op terms, this student was offered part-time work while they returned to their studies. And then post-degree completion, a full-time permanent position was offered and accepted. Arthon was very happy with their decision and recommends the co-op program for any company looking to expand and develop. This is an amazing story, but it is just one of the success stories we regularly see when there's facilitation between organizations and students who are looking to make a professional impact. And I'll pass it back to Allison.
Yeah, and I think Arthon's just such a great example as well of smaller organizations taking advantage of co-op. I know that we work with lots of different industry partners, but knowing that it is attainable for smaller organizations and startups, I think is really key. And you know, we're always open to those conversations. So we hope today is really helpful just to see all of the different opportunities that are available. So I'm just going to move on and talk about some service learning opportunities at Okanagan College as well. So I was lucky enough to be able to connect with some business faculty who were able to tell me about some ongoing projects and different areas where service learning is really helping to transform work that local businesses and also not-for-profit organizations are doing within the community. It's also a really great way with service learning to be able to start small. It really provides businesses with an opportunity to kind of dip their toe and figure out whether maybe a longer term co-op, which is usually 12 to 16 weeks, whether that's going to be a good fit for them. It can be really a good way to connect again with talent as well, because often students are looking for opportunities outside of their education for part-time work and things like that as well. And it's cost effective. So when we think about service learning, it's usually part of a project within a course. So usually it will take place within a semester. So that might be the fall semester, the winter semester, or in the summer. So usually you're working with a group of students for usually 12 to 16 weeks. It just depends on the project that the professor has put together. And we just wanted to provide some examples of what those might be as well. So here is just a few examples of some service learning courses and also the impact that they've had over the past few years. So social entrepreneurship, which is in technical terms of the college known as Bba 309, has been since 2007, has had over 344 different projects with 157 organizations. And the students have really been a part of those flourishing ideas and really taking ownership and really giving employers service and product at the end of each of their projects. Events planning, I'm going to be highlighting a story from this particular course just on the next few slides. But again, the impact is that they've created over 100 different event plans, and I actually have personal experience of this. I'm just currently working, I work with a nonprofit in Lake Country, and we're working with one of the events planning teams, and it's been phenomenal just to be able to have the expertise of students, the mentorship of the professors, and being able to realize an event plan, which for a nonprofit wouldn't have been possible, because we just don't have the funds to employ someone to do that for us. And then also services design as well. So looking about client journeys, different service design improvements that there might be. And again, that's been running since 2014, over 50 different design reviews for a diverse range of for-profit and also non-profit clients as well. So it's important to realize that these involvement in any of these classes is not just for non-profits, but also for-profit organizations too. And I want to highlight today the work, as I mentioned, from the events management and planning course, and specifically the story of Kelowna United Football Club. So students have been working with KUFC for a total of 9 consecutive years, and they have been managing and creating and improving upon a soccer tournament that has run for 9 consecutive years. And I was able to connect with one of the administrators of KUFC, and just to find out a little bit more about how it had impacted them and what the positive messages were from that particular experience as well. So Kelowna United, they have had this tournament for just for 9 years, and they really found that the innovation and planning that was brought by each of the groups. Every year it was different. Every year new ideas were brought. Every year there were different changes that happened that they needed to kind of realign with. I know one of the pieces that they've spoken to me about was the fact that they changed the competitive nature of soccer a few years ago, and then there were no winners and losers. So how were they able to pivot and change in that particular tournament? And the students came up with some really amazing ideas. They actually also have seen a profit that has come out of this as well, and that's been one of the goals of each of the groups, is to find different ways to find sponsorship. So whether that's with local community groups, maybe it's with an event sponsor, whoever that might be, they're trying to find ways to find a profit and to make it sustainable for that particular organization as well, and changing every year too. I also asked, what keeps you coming back for all of these years? Surely after you've had one project completed, that's okay. You don't need to come back, but the enjoyment of working with the teams each year and knowing that they build on success year after year. So, they can look back and see what's been achieved in the past, but they can also look at ways to improve upon that and to really support this not-for-profit organization as well. And if you're kind of on the fence about taking the plunge with service learning, it's worth the risk. Like you don't necessarily, you're not putting any money into this, but you can have the experience of working with students, bringing fresh ideas to your organization. And I can speak from personal experience that the students are really highly motivated and they really want to see the project succeed, and that you actually do use the event plan that they come up with as well. And I did get some feedback as well from one of the students, and they were so grateful for the experience to give them a real life experience within the community. And also in this particular case, the students actually they're hands-on at the event, and they're able to work on those skills and really have a real life situation to be able to reflect upon and to bring to back to their education, and then also to future opportunities as well. And when we think about the time commitment for this, because I know that this can sometimes be a factor in this too, is that it's usually for this particular service learning opportunity, it's usually a few meetings to go over the guidelines and the needs of the organization, weekly emails and calls just between the time of the setup for the beginning of the tournament. And then usually there's a requirement for the organization to attend the group presentations, usually at OC. This year they're going to be via Zoom, and usually that takes place at the end of the semester. And for around about 20 hours investment, the organization receives over 120 hours of commitment in student time for the project. So it's a really great return on investment. So yeah, that was one example that I wanted to share with you today. I did also want to share, I was speaking with Blair Baldwin, who is one of our professors at the Okanagan School of Business, and he was letting me know about some exciting work that had been happening in partnership with Entrepreneurship at UBCO and the process of teaming up. So this has been Entrepreneurship at UBCO, the ventures that collaborate with students from Okanagan College School of Business to work on specific special projects. So again, the opportunities to work with both institutions and to really connect with those students as well. And just as an example of kind of how that process works, so I'm sure UBCO will be speaking to this as well, so I'm not going to go into too much detail, but I wanted to speak about how OC students have been involved in it. So assessing the tools that are needed for success to take the idea to market, and then teaming up with the Okanagan School of Business. The professors were able to come up with learning outcomes, match students to the different project needs. And really what this enables them to do is that, it's a three-way partnership, as with all will is as the students, clients, and also the learning organization to work collaboratively. The students are empowered to work on the different areas. So in this particular case, they've been working on market trends, service design, strategic management, marketing, with continuous mentorship from the professor. And they actually also get to receive credit for this as well. I actually connected with a student that was working on one of the project's veg maps, which was last semester. And actually, they were letting me know how valuable the experience was. And they're actually now working for another local startup in a co-op as a business analyst. And they directly said that, you know, the experience that they had through doing this special project really enabled them to develop the skills needed within the workplace. And I'm happy to say that that student's going to be going on to a further co-op work term and possibly passed onto graduation. And that all stemmed from these service learning opportunities. So a really great way to connect with young talent, and the potential is just exponential. So I am also just going to talk to you as well about the Bba Honors Program. So as part of our Bachelor of Business Administration, there is an honors aspect to that, and students take 2 specific classes. There's usually 10 to 12 students annually, and they will undertake service learning projects with mentorship from professors. So similar to the previous example, but for this example, they're specifically working with projects in community as well. And just an example of some of those projects that they've worked on in the last couple of years. So they've worked with Accelerate Okanagan, Happy Pad, City of Kelowna, Shambhala Music Festival, Uptown Rutland Business Association, BC Greenhouse, and also Refresh Financial. So those are some of the different organizations that those honors students have worked with. And in putting this information together today, I cannot say enough just to thank the business professors that were able to help me gather all of this information. So Kerry Rempel, who is our chair of business. We also have Dr. Kylene Myra, Dr. Shay Seaton, and then also Blair Baldwin as well. So I just wanted to say thank you to those guys too. And then I'm going to pass on to Catherine.
Thank you. So Okanagan College offers trades and apprenticeship, and it's the newest equipment and technologies in state-of-the-art training facilities to train for skilled trades training. So there's foundation level training, which is building knowledge from the ground up for those who've had very little to no experience in that particular trade. So most skilled trades foundational programs include 2 weeks of on-site employer work experience for students to apply their skills directly into the workforce. And then apprenticeship is a mix of technical skills training and employer-led practical industry work hours training. So it's a good mix where students come in and learn theory and practice in the shop, and then they go back into the workforce to really apply those learned skill sets. Next slide. Thanks, Allison. So Okanagan College Trades and Apprenticeship hosts a wide array of training. We offer more than 20 different programs that have provincial, national, and international recognition, from one-time specialty industry training all the way to Red Seal certification. Students master their skills taught by industry-leading instructors while gaining hands-on applied work experience, which just solidifies the theory learning. And next, I'm going to talk to you a little about a program that is also offered at Okanagan College called Women in Trades Training. It's an introductory trades training program for women. And as part of the program, on-site community-based projects, like the picture example here, this is at Warren Peace Bunny and Cat, because there's a picture of a cat, sanctuary are included. From these experiences, the participants are able to feel increased confidence when they practice their skills using tools in the workplace and on-site through these community-based organizations. They begin to build a network of contacts in the community, and that helps them to assist to connect to employment post-training. So it's such an important part of the training program that they go through, is giving back, feeling connected to the community, and getting to apply the confidence and skills that they learn. So just a little bit about next steps. We just wanted to talk about OC Serves Up. That's another program where it's graciously sponsored by RBC. And this initiative is designed to allow culinary and pastry arts students to hone their skills while providing nutritious meals for fellow students who are struggling financially. So it's a win-win practical experience while helping others. And next, we're just going to talk a little bit about timing. So if you are interested, a few things to consider, just that our students and probably yourself as an employer or community-based organization are working backwards. So we like to recommend that co-ops are posted in the previous semester as to when an organization would be looking for student talent. So several months in advance of the position start date. Service learning, if you're wondering about that, that's usually about 2 months before the semester starts, just to give yourself and the professor who's guiding the students time to hammer out the details and work on defining the project and scope. And then for other will, it varies. It's more of a reach out and we can talk about those opportunities and guide you on what times are best for what time of year. And then if you have any next steps or more questions for us, we are always so happy to speak with you around your organization's needs and sort of identify the routes that you can go to connect to student talent. So the best way to reach us would be at coop@okanagan.bc.ca or our website at okanagan.bc.ca. And thank you so much for your time.
Thank you, Alison and Catherine, for that. Lots of information, and just a quick reminder to all our participants that if they would like to ask a question, feel free to do so in the Q&A window. Next on the agenda, we're going to have UBCO introduce the facet of opportunities that they have available, and we have with us today Jamie and Jana. Jamie is the Associate Director for Community Relations with UBC Faculty of Management and oversees the interdisciplinary co-op education program spanning the undergraduate degrees of arts, fine arts, human kinetics, management, media studies, science. Jamie has worked at UBC for 12 years in community engagement, experiential learning, and work integrated learning programming. She's a board member for the BC Association of Co-op and Work Integrated Learning, a member of influence with the Okanagan Young Professional Collective, and recently joined the HR committee for the Central Okanagan Foundation. And Jana is the manager of career services in student development and advising, which includes career development and advising, employer relations, experiential learning and work, integrated learning opportunities, and she sits on the competency committee for CACEE and is part of the Okanagan Young Professional Collective. Jana has worked in the post-secondary sector for many years, both in Canada and abroad. And prior to working at UBC Okanagan, she spent 10 years in Toronto working and teaching in post-secondary. So Jamie and Jana, over to you.
I'm going to jump in, Phil, too, because
Sure.
I like what was done last time. We are meeting virtually, but it's always nice to have a face so that when we get through the pandemic, so I'm assuming they're going to bring their cameras up before switching to their PowerPoint. So it's, oh, there we go. Awesome, Jamie. It's great to at least make the connection, right? And so thanks for the previous speakers, and thanks, Jamie and Jana, for that. So I just wanted to jump in. Sorry, Phil, to interrupt.
Yeah, no problem. Anytime.
Now carry on with the regular programming. Oh, awesome.
Go ahead, Jamie and Jana.
Perfect. Thank you. I'm going to do the same. I'll just turn my camera off. We're doing that for the recording purposes, but we are definitely here in more than just spirit. I'll add my, to stop that, and I'm going to get this
awesome
slides up. Okay. All right, so thank you. Thank you to the Kelowna Chamber and the BC Chamber Talent Forward Initiative for having us today. And thank you to Okanagan College for partnering with us on this wonderful event. As already said, my name is Jamie Snow, and along with my colleague here, Jana Petrone, we will walk you through some of the work integrated learning that's currently taking place at UBC's Okanagan campus. There we go. All right, so just before jumping into the specific different types of WIL that are currently in operation at the Okanagan campus, just wanted to talk a little bit about how transformative learning is an integral part of the overall UBC experience. And it's outlined quite intensively in our Outlook 2040 and Shaping UBC's Next Century strategic plans. As a campus, we strive to create work-integrated learning programming that benefits students as well as the community partners. There are many reasons to consider embedding experiential learning strategies into your organization, and creating these opportunities could be easier than you think. And you've already heard some really great opportunities at Okanagan College as well. The programming model for work-integrated learning at UBCO is decentralized, which is done in order to help to really operationalize and support the learning objectives within each faculty and the programs that they oversee. And as such, we really do have a large team who are always happy to assist you in finding the right experiential program to suit your organization's needs. And we're going to have a resource guide that we'll be sharing out after the session today that will give direct contact information for the various programs. So we won't be including that on the slides, but please note there'll be information following up after. So before jumping into the types of options, I just wanted to talk a little bit about the campus. So we have just over 10,000 students currently studying at UBC Okanagan, over 9,000 of which are undergraduate students pursuing an undergraduate degree program. Within our community, the university has around a $1.92 billion impact annually, and this is through research, development, training, and more. After graduation, numbers are showing that about 52% of our annual graduates look to stay in the region and are actively seeking or already employed with local community partners. And we like to believe that work-integrated learning is a great opportunity to join into that, accessing those talents. We also have from the Okanagan campus around 19,000 alumni, and again, approximately about 44% are still residing in the Okanagan Valley today, which is really, really great numbers to see. So the first type of work-integrated learning programming that I'd like to talk about today is co-op education. So as Kristen said, the co-op education really is that partnership between a student, employer, and UBC. Participating students gain paid and relevant employment experience prior to graduation, and through participating in these full-time paid work experiences, which could be 4, 8, or 12 months in duration, and they could also begin in January, May, or September of any given year. Students really have an opportunity to apply what they've learned in the classroom and build greater awareness and appreciation, as well as confidence to further support their post-graduation goals. Employers benefit from a highly ambitious pre-screened candidate pool. Students must satisfy our co-op program requirements and complete career readiness training prior to starting a co-op position. And also they have learning requirements that are tracked and assessed during the term. The co-op office supports the employer through the job posting, interviewing, and hiring process, and continues to provide coaching and ongoing support to both the student and the workplace throughout the term. At UBCO, our co-op program is operated interdisciplinary, meaning within the one co-op office, we work with students studying across the Bachelor of Arts, Fine Arts, Human Kinetics, Management, Media Studies, and Science. Engineering students studying at UBC Okanagan also have a co-op option, which is run in conjunction with UBC Vancouver Engineering. And there's a variety of hiring incentives available for co-op employers. So hiring a co-op student can really become a very low cost risk and also a cost-effective solution to short-term needs, but also when you're thinking about long-term recruitment strategies that you might be considering in your organization. So today we wanted to share with you some of the examples of the types of work that our students are having an impact in the community, and what they're doing when they're in these work integrated learning experiences, just to put a little bit of context together around how you might be able to consider for your own needs, mobilizing and bringing some student talent into your organization. So Agents of Discovery, a local education technology platform, has been a co-op community partner since 2019. So in those 2 years, they have hired 6 students from a variety of disciplines, including management, science, human kinetics, for instance. Students have worked on a wide variety of projects, everything from writing projects, web development, graphic design, and business development. And there really is not a lot of aspects in the company that the co-op students have not touched in those 2 years. So within their organization, co-op students have been able to integrate into the team very effectively, and have repeatedly been able to bring value pretty immediately, or pretty quickly, into their positions. The organization has been able to build on the momentum from both participating in shorter 4-month experiences, but has also had a lot of success with keeping students on for longer work terms, which really allows the students to dig into more complex tasks and get even more in depth into the operations. In catching up with their team recently, they were proud to share that they found co-op students were able to continue to add value even when onboarding and working fully remotely during the past year and during the pandemic. So another type of WIL experience that's very prominent throughout UBC is applied research projects and Capstone. So I'm going to spend a little bit of time just talking about Capstone. What Capstone is at UBC is during the final year of study, all students in our Bachelor of Engineering, Computer Science, and Management complete a mandatory Capstone project. The length of the project and the start date vary based on the faculty and the program. But during the Capstone, and what happens is, in small teams of students, the students use the knowledge and skills gained during their studies to solve challenging real-world problems proposed by the host or the community partner that's been identified. At the end of the project, the host and the partner receive a comprehensive report and presentation. So to give some examples here, in engineering, students work together to present the business with a design model and potentially a working prototype as a solution to your organization's identified problem. In management, students address both operational and strategic challenges for your organization. Students do this by drawing upon other primary and secondary knowledge that they can access through research where relevant. And they're looking to both define and inform the challenges and problems facing that partner. And in computer science, students either engage in an 8-month project, which would run from September to April, or a 4-month project over the summer months. And at the end of the project, the organization is presented with a software implementation that serves as a working prototype to the challenge identified. All of the Capstone projects are unpaid. They typically follow the terms, so starting in September, January, or in the summer. And again, we'd be happy to explore that further, just depending on your organization's unique challenge and where it might be best positioned across the different faculties. And throughout UBC Okanagan, many of the degree programs provide students with intense hands-on practical experience by way of field placements and professional, practical, or clinical placement experiences. So students in these types of experiences have the opportunity to learn from professionals in the industry setting and apply their knowledge from curriculum and make impactful connections within our regional community as well. So highlighting a few, our human kinetics program, each practicum student is required to complete a minimum of 40 practical hours with a health-related organization. Students can complete additional hours if suitable to the organization. and if that's a suitable arrangement. A supervisor works with the student to determine what that role is going to be, the tasks, the responsibilities for the overall practicum. And placements are available in areas such as clinical rehabilitation settings, both public and private, health promotions, sports settings, fitness, sport rehab, and many more. In education, we refer to our Bachelor of Education students as teacher candidates. The candidates have an undergraduate degree and are now pursuing their teaching certificate or teacher certification. After taking part in 2 school-based practical experiences, the teacher candidates complete a 3-week community field experience. This experience invites candidates to experience teaching and learning in new environments and to forge connections with community outside of the classroom setting. These 3-week unpaid projects assist the host organization in moving forward in a way that they see fit through research, curriculum development, development of educational materials, or other pieces that would be impactful to the organization that they're involved with. In social work, our Masters of Social Work program has a very strong field education office that provides students with a rich variety of learning opportunities to apply theory to practice, supporting our community with over 45,000 hours per year of field education support from these social work students. As a growing program, the faculty is focused on further developing partnerships with our local community agencies in the Okanagan Valley. And these unpaid placements may have a focus of individual, group, organizational development, leadership, or research and policy change. So quite open and broad on where social work students can also get involved in the community. Nursing, our UBC Bachelor's of Science in Nursing program does provide students with a combination of both the theoretical courses and opportunities to apply and consolidate skills in hospital and community-based healthcare settings. So students are exposed to a variety of clinical learning opportunities under the supervision of highly qualified instructors in group placements. Clinical placements are coordinated in partnership with health authorities, the academic institution, and the clinical associations. So to give a couple examples, one of our community partners, the YMCA, regularly works with human kinetics students through the Bachelor of Human Kinetics program. And this is a field placement capacity. So it helps to provide learning opportunities for students in the field of, in their field of study that's also really impactful for the YMCA. It was noted that staff and members of the YMCA benefit from working closely with students who are so keen to engage with the community and assist members in reaching their health and wellness goals. 4th-year human kinetics student, Maddie Ryan, her experience with the YMCA not only gave her confidence in and excitement about her future in healthcare, but also allowed her to apply knowledge from her degree and make meaningful connections along the way. And at the Kelowna General Hospital, students carry out clinical placements as part of their degree program by working with a pre-sector practitioner. So the KGH team noted their appreciation that practicum students are equipped with a solid foundation of knowledge and are passionate about promoting health and wellness. Not only this, but that the students are always eager to learn and quick to adapt. We had a 4th-year human kinetics practicum student who attributes the success of his opportunity in the ability to implement the knowledge he gained from 4 years of schooling into a clinical setting. He noted that he will forever experience knowing it helped a strong foundation for his professional career, making him a better healthcare professional in the future. And I'm going to pass it over to Jana now to talk a little bit more.
Great, thank you, Jamie. Awesome, so I'm gonna move on and work and talk a little bit about entrepreneurship. So E at UBC offers UBC Okanagan students, their faculty staff, and as well as OC students, which we heard from Allison earlier, training, mentorship, and support to explore their startup ideas, to build connections within the Okanagan innovation ecosystem, and really develop the skill set needed to launch a successful new venture through the Mentor to Market program. So every May to August, there's one intake a year for a September start. And any individuals interested in participating with the E at UBC program needs to apply during that May to August application period. And so this will include venture building programs, incubation spaces, mentoring and investment opportunities. And then following this, every March, the E at UBCO Quick Pitch Challenge is designed to showcase talented UBCO entrepreneurs to the business and investor community, as well as the media. The best and the brightest of those innovation teams face off in several highly competitive rounds, culminating in a final competition judged by the angel investors. So if you're interested in any of this and getting involved as a business mentor, or have maybe an entrepreneurial idea that you'd like to connect with E at UBC on, please don't hesitate to reach out to our team. And as Jamie had mentioned earlier, there will be a contact list that will be distributed following the event. Can you move to the next slide? Thanks, Jamie. And then, so I'm going to speak a little bit about general work experience. So at UBCO, we call this the work study program. And basically what happens is that UBCO is providing opportunities for students to work in the professional environment on campus while achieving some of their own learning goals, building a professional network, and supporting the development of professional skills. So although this opportunity is really meant for internal hires within UBCO, employers and our partners should expect to see these types of work experiences on resumes and applications as they're coming in. And it's really just helpful and beneficial to understand the different types of skills and experience a UBCO graduate will gain from such a program when they're applying out in the community. A few examples of some work study positions include things like research assistants, marketing, and social media collaborators. There's different various projects assistants. So there's many, many opportunities on campus. Next slide, please, Jamie. So new this year to UBCO, and we just launched this in 2021, is a program called the Arts Career Apprenticeship Program. And you know, the short form is UBCO Acap program. And so really this is a program that connects upcoming arts, humanities, and social science graduates from the Irving K. Barber Faculty of Arts and Social Sciences and the Faculty of Creative and Critical Studies with Okanagan-based employers for a one-year paid early career opportunity. So through this process, I would say soon-to-be graduates participate in a competitive application and interview process and gain professional mentorship while contributing to the growth and development of a local business organization within the Okanagan Valley. The UBCO Acap program is preparing students for career and employment readiness through many supports, training opportunities, and different workshops getting for that opportunity. So for the employers participating in the program, this is a great direct access to a competitive pool of graduating students. And selected students assist their organization for a 12-month period. Participating in a program such as this encourages hiring locally. Employers are also supported through the application, hiring, and interview process by the UBC Okanagan team, and they receive a grant valued at 4 months salary up to $4,000 a month. So employers can receive a maximum of $16,000 for each hired graduate. This program is now actually in the interview stage right now as we speak, but if you sort of are interested in what you heard a little bit about today, feel free to reach out. We'd be happy to put you on our list for 2022 application period and send you all the information as the application period opens up next year. Moving on to community service learning. And Allison, our colleague at OC, spoke quite a bit about community service learning, which is great. So it's also offered at UBC Okanagan. And this is really the opportunity for students to connect with their learning in the classroom with real life experiences in the community. And it's done through both the curricular, course-based, and co-curricular, which is open to all students, different projects within the community. Allison spoke a lot today about the curricular piece, so I'll give a little bit of an example about the co-curricular piece. So basically what happens is the community serving learning projects, they're ongoing, they're open to all students in our campus, and they go out into the community and work on different projects. And one example is our community technology program, where students will assist others by helping them with their technology skills as a technology tutor or workshop leader. So if you have a volunteer-based project that you think would suit the community service learning program, please feel free to reach out and contact somebody on our team so that we can talk through this. I think the best avenue here is really, if you just have an idea, it's great to reach out and start, generating those ideas and chatting through what they might look like. If it's not a great fit for community service learning, we're happy to refer you to other individuals in the university where your idea might be a better fit. And one example of the co-curricular is an example from Kelowna Gospel Mission. So there's a partnership with UBCO, and it's a yearly partnership. So year over year, this happens, and it really is focusing on the impactful service within our community. So during the holidays, UBCO community service learning students will work with residents of the Kelowna Gospel Mission to create sort of these beautiful handcrafted cards that they can send to their loved ones. Students love taking the time out of their schedule to head down to the Kelowna Gospel Mission and chat with the residents, help them sort of research and find addresses that they may not have or have had. They'll provide some stamps, some cards, help them write messages, and the residents really look forward to this activity every year. The project really helps residents along their path to healing and has even reconnected many residents with family members they've been disconnected with for some time. So again, just one example of a co-curricular project that can happen, but we're open and happy and eager to collaborate with you and hear your different ideas that you may have. So please feel free to reach out. So the team at UBCO is here to support you and ensure we support your organizational goals and projects through work integrated learning. Again, following this presentation, you'll be provided with a resource guide for further information and contacts for each of the individual programs, both myself and Jamie spoke about today. If you don't know which program might best suit your organization's needs, please reach out to the Career Service team. We'll be happy to have a team member speak with you, discuss your goals, and direct you to the appropriate programming and provide the next steps. The Career Service team is here to help facilitate career conversations between all students and employers, manage our job board if you're interested and eager to use that, and just provide general career supports for organizations in the community. So thank you for your time, and I'll pass it back to Phil.
Thank you very much, Jamie and Jana. That was, again, a fantastic introduction to all the opportunities available at UBC. And, for many of you, as you can see, that between both institutions, there's a fabulous array of student talent available to you, which is very exciting. So moving on, next on the agenda, we're just going to do a quick poll, both UBC and OC. I was hoping to ask you a couple of questions. So I think, Michelle, you're going to pop that up. And really, they're just exploring the options of running a regional job fair in 2021. And with that, you'll see that it's just a quick yes, no answer or pick the season. One, interested in, whether you'd be like to attend a regional multi-institutional career fair. And second of all, just ranking your preference in terms of the time of year for this event. You'll also receive a post-workshop survey, which will ask for your input on some of the on the webinar, and of course the recording will be up shortly. But while you're contemplating answering those questions, shouldn't take you too long. I'm just going to turn it back to Kristen to talk about funding resources.
And just to keep you posted, both we're about halfway through, so if the remaining handful of folks could vote on those two poll questions, we'll cut off the voting in a few moments.
Great. So in the meantime, we just wanted to talk to you briefly about funding options and basically just raise your awareness that there are some funding options available to you if you did want to bring a student on board. So as we mentioned, some of the different types of work integrated learning are paid positions. But the good news is that there are some options for funding, and there's a range of provincial and federal funding options available. And with that, we just have a caveat that availability does change sometimes. So just wanted to highlight one of the major sources of funding right now for businesses. And that's what we call SWEP funding, and that's the Student Work Placement Program funding. This is federal funding, and it's funding that's open to Canadian businesses and nonprofits It's offered through 12 different delivery partners. So depending on the industry that you're in, you may be eligible for this funding. And there's several programs that are also open to any businesses looking to hire students. What this program does is it offers about a 50 to 75 or 70% wage subsidy to businesses who bring a student on board. So each SWEP funder delivery partner, they have a little bit of a different process. So we're not going to go into a lot of detail about the specific types of funding, but we just wanted to raise your awareness that there is funding available to bring students on board. So if cost is something that might be prohibitive to you for bringing a student on board, this is definitely something that you can explore. So depending on the type of student talent that you want to bring on board, you can connect directly with Okanagan College or UBCO for information on the types of funding that they recommend. And you're also welcome to connect with Talent Forward. So we do have a number of resources on our website that speak to funding. So you can see the link here that we have some Talent Forward funding. We'll make sure that we send out this link at the end as well. And you'll be able to find a summary of some of the different types of funding available to your organization. So I'm going to pass it back over to you, Phil.
Thank you, Kristen. And with that, we are now moving on to the question and answer section. So we'll be here for about 10 or 15 minutes. So feel free to ask any questions you'd like on the question and answer dialog box. And just maybe to start, what I'll do is I'll ask a quick question and Jamie or Jana, I don't know who would like to respond to this. If I were interested in hiring a student, but I'm concerned that I won't have enough work for them for a 4-month co-op term, what types of work do co-op students normally do to fill up their work terms?
Perfect, thanks, Phil. Yeah, the work can be quite varied and really dependent on the organization and what's going on, either immediately some pressing projects or specific things within the unit or department that the student might be involved with. But we see a wide variety. So everything from project-based work, it could be helping support on the marketing front of the business, through HR to finance, accounting, general administration support. If it's more of hiring on the technical side, it might be students involved in supporting on some of the programming requirements that are happening, project management or working around some of the project management side. Yeah, so a wide variety for sure, and we would be happy to work with any individual to better know where their needs lie in their organization and even help to write job descriptions based off of what they've identified as areas and coach and support around where students can really bring value to that organization. Maybe I can also pass it over to, I don't know if OC Allison or Catherine want to say something as well to that.
Yeah, absolutely. I would just fully echo what Jamie just said about the different opportunities and different things that are available. You know, it really does vary dependent on the industry and then also the program that the students are connected to. You know, for example, I know that a lot of our water engineering students, you know, like they go out and they'll work for different municipalities, including here in the city of Kelowna. And oftentimes employers will take on co-op students during their peak times. And it helps to kind of cover off some of the vacation things vacation that happens. We know that that's going to happen on a yearly basis. So oftentimes employers will use it as an opportunity to train and mentor those students and then have that relief opportunities there. But also, again, as Jamie was saying, taking on different projects, whether that's in an engineering environment or whether that's in more of a business environment. We do find a lot of student opportunities that come up with social media marketing and really filling up some of those gaps where maybe an employer doesn't feel as though they have as much time to be able to commit to that. But oftentimes, again, you know, like I might be talking with an employer and maybe co-op isn't the right fit for the first time around. Maybe it is that they do get their feet wet with something like a Capstone project or with service learning. And, you know, we're always happy to have those conversations and direct folks to where is best answered those needs within their college. And again, so being able to support employers, because again, often like not knowing where to start with a job description, you know, like you kind of know what you want, but you're not 100% sure exactly what that might look like. We have literally thousands of different job descriptions that we're able to pull from and really help to support employers. And I think that's the same across both institutions. We just, you know, we really want employers to succeed, and we really want students to succeed as well.
So while I have you, Alison, just a quick question: if you know, if I was a remote business, you know, would I be able to hire a student to work remotely as well? Do they have to actually be on site?
So we have had so many different examples in the last 12 months where employers have had to shift and move to that realm. In the presentation, I give the example of Arthon, and initially that employer did need to take the student on remotely. There are a number of different supports available through not only ACE Will BC, but also nationally as well. We have some resources available for guidelines on how to support students remotely, how to onboard, how to, you know, kind of check in, but also knowing that, you know, no matter which the institution is, it's a three-way partnership, you know, where we don't just support the student to gain in the position. It's a commitment throughout that time period and beyond as well. But you know, we're always there to support the student. We're always there to support the employer with any of the questions that they may have. We know that we're always, you know, just when we think that we're navigating through times that we kind of know what's going to happen, you know, all of a sudden we get different news as happened yesterday, and different companies have to, depending on their business model, have to pivot. You know, I know that this is going to be the news yesterday is going to be something that we'll be working with our culinary students on in the next few weeks, and we just have to be able to work through and figure out different possibilities for that. But know that at each institution we have the expertise and we have the resources and supports to be able to help businesses. And I actually have found in the last 12 months, I would say that smaller businesses have been a lot more agile, I would say, on being able to transition from that, from working virtually. And oftentimes a lot of them had already previously been working remotely, and now it just kind of bolstered that the way of working as well. And employers have shared really great examples of how they do support students. So having lots more social interactions, and you know, kind of times where they meet up and they don't talk about anything business related, but trying to foster community while they're starting to work in a new organization.
Excellent. And Jamie, I don't know, same for the UBC, other remote work. Any other comments?
Yeah, absolutely. We've experienced the same as Alison's well outlined there. I would also add that it's what we've been seeing too is our students have been learning in this remote environment over the last year, and I think that has helped equip them with some really useful transferable skills to take into the workplace, and around time management and staying motivated and how to do that in a remote environment. I'm not going to say they're perfect at it, as probably none of us are, but I think the online learning environment over this last year has definitely been an additional support to creating those learning skills and how they can apply that to the workplace in some of these co-positions.
So Jamie, I guess if they when they hire students, are they hiring them as employees or are they hiring them as contractors? And some of the questions there are around, do they need to pay WCB and, you know, the employee contributions on their behalf and things like that?
Yeah, so for co-op, they are hiring them as employees. And we do look to have them be on the payroll and set up with all the same workplace coverages like WCB as a regular employee for that duration of the work term. So that's specific to co-op. And of course, a lot of the other work integrated learning experiences that we talked about today that are unpaid, that's a different environment. It's more curricular based, and the workplaces where we'd ask to provide the mentorship and the support and bring forward the real life challenge or opportunity that they're hoping the students can study. But in those cases, most often they're not asked to put the students onto any formal employment record of that organization.
Excellent. And and Alison sort of briefly answered this in her last overview, but from a UBC perspective, I'm assuming there's the same vast array of shorter term options for things like capstones, and you highlighted some of that in your presentation. But I was wondering if you wanted to go into a bit more detail on some of the other student talent programs that might work for shorter timelines or shorter timeframes.
For sure, yeah. So I liked what Alison said there too about how if co-op is seeming a little daunting, or to maybe an organization is not quite ready to know if they're going to be able to fill a full co-op experience, I would say our community service learning, as well as our capstone or curricular-based projects, are a great way to engage the university, engage students, applied research projects that are community-based, working with a faculty member, a community partner, and a student are also great initiatives. And they're quite open to the duration and the length of term, just depending on the needs of the project, the needs of the organization, and what that would look like. So yeah, I would encourage there's a wide variety of ways to get involved, and would echo my fellow colleagues that have already spoken on this. If there is any even small project that you're thinking it would be so great to get some students, I highly encourage to reach out to both or either post-secondary institution, and we'd be happy to explore a type of work integrated learning program that might best support that particular need.
Excellent. And maybe one more question for Alison or Catherine. So this is from our audience. If we had a project that allows students to take a lead, such as relooking at the design of the image or product, or maybe event coordination, is that permitted, or are they required to be mentored and tutored? They're just looking to see if there's any freedom to create for them in terms of providing fresh eyes, seeking new ideas to go forward, where they take more of a lead role as opposed to always being supervised.
So definitely there's always the piece there with the having the connection to the organization or the learning institution, for sure. In terms of, and I can kind of speak from my own experience from the event management and working with a local nonprofit. While there is kind of the professor in the background, it's not necessarily that professor is kind of included in all of the meetings and things like that happen as part of the service learning environment. It really is just for them to set out the guidelines, the time frames, those types of things, and really the students have full control about how they proceed with that particular idea and that particular event plan. It's been really neat to see the students kind of take the guidance from us as the nonprofit, and to really, run with it and take that feedback and really take ownership for it. We're going to be seeing the presentation, I think, in 2 weeks, so I'm excited to see what they've actually come up with. So I think in terms of, when we say that mentorship piece, it's not like the professor is always kind of in this particular case, like it's not that they're always within that conversation all of the time. They're just there monitoring and just seeing kind of what happens, but the students really can take full control of that. But another really great example of where students really do take ownership of what they do, and I think I just saw something just on our internal news channel about Enactus students. So we have Enactus OC that primarily business students are involved with, and they just won a national award for their Fruit Snaps program, and that is all originated by the students, and you know, they have project managers, they take that social entrepreneurship idea, they grow it, they put it out into the community. And there are lots of ways in which businesses have supported that as well. Multitude of different projects that they've done. I can think of so many with the, I know they were doing a pen pal project, Silver Surfers, the Can Save project, where they go into schools and work with financial literacy as well. So just so many different ways, and that is kind of, you know, that's not for credit. That is something that the students are kind of taking ownership for themselves individually too. So just kind of two aspects of it is, you know, like there is that service learning where they do have the freedom to create, and then those other activities that are student-led and student focused too.
Yeah, and Jamie, same sort of comments from your perspective.
Yeah, absolutely. And I would say it's similar, as Allison said. There's a number of opportunities or student-led groups on campus where they have that chance to really step into full operational roles and oversight to determine how what they have prioritized and how they want to progress in either elected positions of students or in different clubs and activities or competitions at the Okanagan campus as well. When it comes to the curricular capstone projects or the community service learning, we definitely love to, as Allison said too, always make sure that there is mentorship involved in the project itself, and mentorship from both the academic contribution side, but then also from the partner, but given in a way that still, you know, gives the students guidance, but allows them to be creative, to be resourceful, to apply what they're learning in the classroom, or where they can find other helpful supports that could bring new and fresh ideas to that operation or to that business. So where we always love to encourage wherever there's projects that can be scoped in a way that gave a bit of freedom of license to the students to work independently amongst their small team to identify priorities or solutions, and to bring those forward as and make the argument as to why these might be solutions that organization might want to consider that could help address a particular challenge that they've noted.
Thank you. And I think that just about wraps up what we have for questions. And Dan, do you have a few words to say to wrap up?
Yeah, well, I had one question to the group, and then maybe we'll give the gift of time back to some of the folks so we don't go to the top of the hour, and encourage those that have joined us to potentially make an order or go to a patio and support our small businesses that are in the restaurant side, given yesterday's health order. So if we could keep that in mind. I'm curious, one of the broader issues, and it's great to have such participation by folks today, and I would encourage those that have joined us, encourage those within your network to reach out to Okanagan College or the folks at UBC to take advantage of the talent that's out there. And that brings me to the question that I had more broadly speaking, and to any of those, and there's a bunch of you that have much more expertise in this area than I, and that's retention of students. As an aging demographic, and I'm part of it here in the Okanagan, we want to retain more of the talent that's going through both OC and at UBC. Is there tracking that's going on of these students? If they get a work experience, are they more likely to stay? And are those that are participating in these programs, you know, coming from other communities? Do you track that? International students? Are we able to track and see the benefits to the community as a whole in entrenching potentially through this types of work integrated learning to retain some of these people in the Okanagan going forward? Anybody able to, the community benefits for this?
Yeah, it's a really great question, and I would love to be able to say we do a really good job at UBC of being able to track the students post-graduation, but I will be honest and say it is a bit of a tricky one for us to overall be able to track in a real, like, knowledgeable, we know exactly where they've gone once they've left the system of UBC. It is up to them to disclose information back to us, which sometimes they do, sometimes they don't. So it gets a little bit tricky, but to the point that you made, Dan, about work integrated learning programming, can that really be a solution to that challenge of long-term retention for the Valley? I firmly believe it can be. We do see the benefit of a student who engaged with through their work integrated learning experiences as a student with particular organizations, having a higher affinity of returning back there post-graduation for other types of opportunities. So it can be such a great way to build that pipeline and secure the talent and keep them in the region because they've made the connections, they have exposure and experience within those operations and have a desire to return back if the opportunities present themselves. So I will say that I think the Valley does an amazing job of attracting the talent, the students' interest to come here, and as seen by our very dynamic and diverse student population. And I hear from students a lot that they desire to stay. That's their goals. They would like to stay in the Valley. So I think this work integrated learning space is such a great way to mobilize those two groups to say, we've got students, we've got them being trained and educated right here in the Valley, and we know we have long-term needs to retain for the ongoing economic development of this region. And I think work integrated learning can be well positioned to do that.
Excellent. Thanks, Jamie. Appreciate that. And Phil, before I turn things back to you and Kristen, potentially to wrap up, did you want the results of the poll? Michelle's hiding in the background from our team, Michelle Radcliffe. So I think, Michelle, you can show us the results of the poll. Are you able to do that? Or there you go, Phil.
So spring, fall, or winter. Lots of options there. And it looks like there's a unanimous demand for an interest in a multi-institutional career fair. So great.
But what's interesting is, don't touch my summer. Right. And I get it. Yeah, let's enjoy the summer. Awesome. Thanks very much.
Excellent. Thank you, Dan. And Kristen, I don't know if you had any final words you'd like to share.
I just wanted to say thank you to everyone for attending. Hopefully this has been beneficial to just understand what your options are for connecting with student talent locally. And yeah, really appreciate your time. So pass back to you, Phil.
Thank you. And thank you to Alison, Catherine, Jana, and Jamie. Really appreciate your time today. You shared a fantastic amount of information. And to the audience, of course, we will have one-pages available to you that will be sent out to you, and so that you get a brief overview of the presentations. And of course, they'll also have their contact information. So if you do have any questions, you can certainly send those to any of our panelists today, and they'll be more than happy to reach out to you. And obviously, certainly my kids have gone through OC, UBC, so I've seen both sides of these institutions, the amazing work they do, the talent that comes out. And if you, I know Alison briefly mentioned Actus, which is a really student-led entrepreneurship opportunity across the post-secondary sector. And you only have to watch these students in action to be extremely humbled about the talent that's coming out of our post-secondary institutions. So I think you'll be absolutely thrilled with I'm going to call them our product, but they are people, and they are very, very hungry to get out there and show you what they can do. So thank you, everybody. I really appreciate your time today, and look forward to your contact in the future.